So, I want to tell you a little bit about my credentials. I have a Juris Doctorate from Whittier Law School. I have an LLM or Master's in Tax Law from Chapman University School of Law. And I have some kind of LLB equivalent from some Canadian certification organization. So, when I was in California, I encountered a problem where police broke into my house with a gun in their hands, threatening to blow my head off. And instead of the police deciding to tell the truth about what happened, they decided to encourage my former roommate to make false claims against me so that they could, rationalize busting into my house with the guns in their hands. So I was falsely accused of crime in order to save these police who engaged in crime against me. So I defended myself, and I was threatened by the prosecutor that if I don't pay $300 to a battered women's shelter, they're going to prosecute me for these crimes. I mean, just the sheer cost of defending myself is going to be a lot more than $300. So without understanding what the crime of extortion under the color of official right was, I paid this $300 to this battered women's shelter. And later I understand that what ends up happening is they then have a party with the prosecutors and these battered women, and the prosecutors come in as these heroes who've extorted thousands of dollars from criminal defendants, and then they have sex with the vulnerable women. So after this, the state of California was publishing my name on the internet as a criminal, despite the fact that I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't been convicted of any crime. In fact, they dismissed the charges. So if you understand that we need to change it to a kingdom, you'd realize that the state of California should be the king, and it would be a trespass for the king to use my reputation because he doesn't own my reputation. So I filed this motion for a declaration of factual innocence, and the attorney assigned to represent the people of the state of California in opposing this motion is the Chief Deputy District Attorney, Jonathan Patrick Coaches. Maybe it's Coaches, I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce his name. And he threatens me that if I don't sign a release against those that falsely accused me of crime, which included prosecutors, he was going to, and I mean the prosecutors actually personally accused me of crime, right? He was going to oppose my motion. And, I read this case where this person filed this motion for declaration of factual innocence. They were accused of threatening death. And they proved that the person on the tape who threatened death, or the voice on the tape who threatened death, was not their voice. And the court said, yes, that's true, it's not your voice, but maybe you paid someone, so therefore we're not going to grant you your declaration of factual innocence. Like, again, somehow the state of California has entitlement to someone else's reputation. So, out of great concern, and plus the fact that my attorney that I hired was pushing me to sign this release, I signed it. I signed it out of fear and coercion. So after learning, or after maybe doing some research and discovering that this is extortion, I started doing more research and realizing that, the Supreme Court of the United States has this case, Town of Newton versus Rumry, which says that if a prosecutor threatens a criminal defendant with a prosecution, unless a person signs a release, that's the involuntary waiver of constitutional rights is no reason to hold that agreement invalid. So I realized I wasn't entitled to peacefully and orderly petition the courts for redress of grievances, but the Supreme Court never said that I wasn't entitled to make a citizen's arrest. So I started summoning for assistance to arrest Jonathan Patrick Coaches for his crime of extortion under the color of official right. And he ended up, getting everyone to gang up on me and to overcome my resistance to his stealing. And this is the crime of robbery. And it's also the crime of trespassing, because I have the right to arrest a person who has in fact committed a felony. And these people knew that because I presented evidence, and yet they continued to help the felon. So I was disbarred in the state of California, and I was disbarred in the province of Ontario because these adjudicators all decided they were going to help a felon escape rather than help a victim make a lawful citizen's arrest. So after being disbarred, I filed a lawsuit and alleged the crime of corruption in this lawsuit, and it was dismissed. So in other words, and there wasn't even really given any reasons or anything like that. So in other words, I'm not entitled to unobstructed access to peacefully and orderly petition the courts for redress of grievances. They're entitled to my lawsuit. This is not law. We do not have law. We have a system that's built on power. And power is when you trespass on other people's rights. We need a system of justice. And a system of justice is not democracy, it's a kingdom. And in a system of justice, you don't get to trespass. No trespassing. Long live the king.